My life was pretty normal until I found myself in a screaming match with a full-blown yinfluencer, mom right in the middle of a packed mall, all because of a toy and a tantrum. Was I wrong for standing my ground against someone who films their entire life for clicks, even if it meant looking like the bad guy on someone else's highlight reel? You tell me if you would have done the same thing, because honestly, I still go over it in my head. It all started on a Saturday, a day I usually dread because it means braving the weekend crowds. My nephew Leo was turning 5, and I'd promised him the latest Cosmic Defender action figure. He'd been talking about it for weeks, showing me grainy pictures on my phone, explaining all its features, and giving me a full rundown of its fictional backstory. I'm not usually one for big toy runs, but Leo is my favorite little guy, and his excitement was infectious. So, with a deep breath and a mental pep talk, I headed to the biggest toy store in the Grandview Mall. The mall was, as expected, a zoo. Kids were everywhere, parents looked frazzled, and the background noise was a symphony of crying babies, blaring advertisements, and the general hum of hundreds of conversations. I navigated through strollers and slow-moving families, my eyes peeled for the bright red and blue sign of Toytopia. When I finally got there, it was even more chaotic inside. Aisles were jammed, and the sound of plastic toys being dropped and picked up was constant. I made my way to the action figure section, which was usually a safe bet for finding what I needed. And there it was, nestled amongst a dozen other generic heroes. The Cosmic Defender, in its pristine, unblemished box. It was the last one on the shelf. A small victory, I thought, reaching for it with a sense of accomplishment. That's when I heard it, a high-pitched, ear-splitting shriek. I swear, it felt like the entire store went silent for a split second, only to erupt into murmurs. I turned to see a little girl, no older than 3 or 4, thrashing on the floor, red-faced and screaming at the top of her lungs. Her mother, a woman with perfectly coiffed hair and a designer handbag, was attempting to calm her down, but it was clearly not working. This woman, who I later learned was the Penelope Sparkle, yes, that's her actual online alias. A local influencer, known for her perfectly curated life and mom content, was already flustered. She had a phone on a small tripod set up a few feet away, clearly recording, which I found odd at the time but didn't dwell on. I just wanted my Cosmic Defender, and to get out of there. I grabbed the toy, confirming it was indeed the right one, and started to head towards the checkout. As I did, Penelope's daughter, who I'll call Sparkle Jr., somehow spotted the toy in my hand. Her screams intensified, morphing from generic tantrum wails into a focused laser-like shriek of, "I want that! Mommy, I want IT!" Penelope, now looking even more distressed, turned to me, her eyes widening. "Excuse me," she said, her voice strained but trying to maintain a semblance of calm for her recording. "My daughter really wants that toy. It's the last one, isn't it?" I paused, holding the box tighter. "Yes, it is," I replied, trying to be polite. "It's for my nephew's birthday." Penelope gave a tight, almost forced smile. "Oh, but she saw it first. She's been asking for this all week. You wouldn't want to disappoint a little girl, would you?" My politeness was starting to fray. "I understand, but I picked it up first and it's for a birthday. He's really excited about it." Sparkle Jr. was now kicking her legs, practically convulsing on the floor. Penelope glanced at her phone, then back at me, a flicker of desperation in her eyes. "Look, I'll buy you another one online, or give you cash for it, anything. But my little Sparkle really needs this." My jaw tightened. Sparkle? I thought. And she needs it. This wasn't about need. This was about a spoiled child and a mother who probably never told her no. Especially not in front of a camera. I appreciate the offer, but no. I'm not selling it. It's for my nephew, and I'm buying it for him. That's when the influencer persona started to crack. Her voice became sharper, less saccharine. "Are you serious? You're going to let a grown man take a toy from a poor little girl? What kind of person are you?" The volume of Sparkle Jr.'s screams reached a new crescendo, and a small crowd was starting to gather. I could feel eyes on me. Some curious, some judgmental, some just annoyed by the noise. I glanced at the tripod, still recording, and a wave of indignation washed over me. She was trying to make me the villain in her carefully constructed online narrative. "I'm a person who bought a toy for my nephew," I retorted, my voice firm despite the tremor of annoyance in my chest. She didn't see it first. I picked it up first. This isn't a charity, it's a store. Penelope gasped, a dramatic hand flying to her chest. How dare you? My followers are going to hear about this. You're bullying a child. This was it. The public shaming. The threat of online retribution. I knew how these influencers operated. They'd spin a narrative, edit the footage, and I'd be vilified by thousands of strangers who only saw one side of the story. But something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to be a prop in her online drama. Go ahead, I said, my voice dangerously calm. Tell your followers whatever you want. I bought this toy fair and square. Your daughter's tantrum is not my problem, and it certainly doesn't entitle her to something I already have. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have given in to the influencer pressure, or would you have stood your ground? Penelope's face went from indignant to furious in an instant. Her carefully constructed image completely shattered. You are disgusting, she shrieked, no longer caring about her camera, though it was still dutifully recording. You probably don't even have a nephew. You just want to upset a child. She then did something truly shocking. She lunged for the toy. It was so unexpected that I nearly dropped it. Her hand grasped the side of the box, and she tried to yank it from my grip. I held on tight. This wasn't just about the toy anymore. It was about the principle. It was about not letting someone walk all over me, especially not for a fabricated online drama. We were in a full-blown tug-of-war over a Cosmic Defender action figure in the middle of a busy toy store, with a screaming child as our soundtrack. People were staring, some openly gawking, others trying to pretend they weren't witnessing a public meltdown. A few store employees were starting to make their way over, looking very uncomfortable. Let go, I said, my voice low and strained. This is ridiculous. Penelope, however, had the strength of a desperate mother, or perhaps just the conviction of someone who always gets what they want. She pulled harder, and for a second, I thought the box was going to tear. Sparkle Jr., seeing her mother engaged in battle, somehow managed to amplify her screams even further, sounding like a banshee. I said, let go. I practically roared, finally losing my cool completely. I gave a sharp tug, and Penelope, caught off guard, stumbled backward, nearly tripping over her own daughter. The toy remained firmly in my hand. Her eyes were blazing. You pushed me. You assaulted me, she screamed, pointing dramatically at me. The store employees, 2 young men, finally reached us. Is everything all right here? One of them asked, clearly out of his depth. Penelope immediately turned her wrath on them. No, everything is not all right. This man just assaulted me and stole my daughter's toy. She pointed at me, then at Sparkle Jr., who was still screaming. And he's upsetting my poor baby. I took a deep breath, trying to regain my composure. Sir, I did not assault her. We were in a dispute over a toy that I had picked up, and was in the process of purchasing. She tried to snatch it from my hands. I held up the Cosmic Defender. It's for my nephew's birthday. The employee looked from me to Penelope, then at the still recording phone. He clearly didn't know what to do. Before he could respond, Penelope, with a sudden flash of inspiration, reached for her phone on the tripod. You know what? This is all being recorded. My followers will see everything. You're going to be famous for being a monster, she said, brandishing her phone like a weapon. That's when I saw red. I'd had enough. I walked over to the tripod, reached down, and without a moment's hesitation, I turned the camera off and put it face down on the floor. Penelope shrieked again, a truly primal sound. Hey, what are you doing? You can't touch my property. I just stopped you from recording a public tantrum and making a fool of yourself. I replied, my voice calm again, chillingly so. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to buy this toy and go home. The store manager, a stern-looking woman who had been alerted by the commotion, arrived on the scene. She took one look at Penelope's distraught face, Sparkle Jr.'s relentless screaming, and the now silent camera, and then at me, holding the toy. What in the world is going on here? She demanded. Penelope, ever the actress, immediately launched into a tearful, exaggerated account of how I had terrorized her and her daughter, stolen the toy, and then destroyed her camera. I calmly explained my side of the story, pointing out that I had picked up the last toy, and she had attempted to physically take it from me. I also mentioned the recording. The manager, to her credit, seemed to grasp the situation quickly. She looked at Penelope's phone, then back at us. "Ma'am," she said to Penelope, "we have security cameras throughout the store. We can review the footage." Penelope's face drained of color. The mention of actual, unedited security footage seemed to snap her out of her performance. Her theatrics vanished, replaced by genuine fear. She knew that her carefully crafted narrative would unravel in an instant if there was objective evidence. That won't be necessary," she stammered, picking up her daughter, who, sensing the shift in her mother's demeanor, finally quieted down to a whimper. "We're just going to go." And with that, Penelope Sparkle, the mighty influencer, made a hasty retreat, practically dragging her now silent daughter out of the store, leaving behind a bewildered crowd and a very confused store manager. I purchased the Cosmic Defender without further incident, the silence in the toy store feeling almost deafening after the uproar. As I walked out of the mall, the memory of Penelope's shocked face and the satisfying click of her camera turning off brought a small smile to my face. I might have been the villain in her potential YouTube video, but I was the hero in my nephew's eyes, and that was all that mattered. The next day, Leo's face lit up like a Christmas tree when he saw the Cosmic Defender. He hugged me so tight, telling me I was the best uncle ever. It was worth every single second of that ridiculous mall drama. I never saw Penelope Sparkle's video, and honestly, I never looked for it. I figured if she did post anything, it would be heavily edited to paint me as the villain, but knowing the truth was enough for me. Sometimes you just have to stand your ground, even if it means getting into a screaming match with a public figure in the middle of a mall. The internet can be a wild place, and some people will do anything for attention. But some things, like a promise to your nephew, are more important than someone else's online ego. So that's my story. It was a bizarre, unexpected, and completely unforgettable Saturday. If you've ever had to deal with a influencer, or someone completely entitled, let me know in the comments. Like this video if you were on my side, subscribe for more stories like this, and share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. I'll see you all in the next story.